Hey guys, so basically in 2020 I tried to track pretty much everything I've done. And you might wonder why? Well, I got inspired by a Reddit post about a girl's diary where she noted when she pooped and peed. And people had a lot of fun guessing why she pooped that day and didn't that, and were like, hey, on my birthday she pooped twice. And I thought that would be a good way to farm some karma. But I also really like data, and I'm a huge fan of self-improvement. So the more I thought about it, the more I thought that it could be greatly beneficial for me. Because your memory can be quite deceiving sometimes. And you might not have the feeling that you're doing something too often or too little, when in reality it's completely different. So, and I mean, that's also what I um, saw when looking at my data. Like, I had some thoughts that, like, I trained basically every day last year from the beginning on, and since last October or so, and when in reality I didn't start training every day since I think March or so. Like, I don't have it in my head, I have it noted down, so I really know it for a fact when I did what. And yeah, that's the main reason why I did it in the end, because I wanted to learn more about me and my behavior and how I spend my time, so I know where I should change things. Because, we all want to get somewhere in life, and I'm far from where I want to be, but I just go one step after another. So, yeah. And I mean, basically, your life is pretty much just habits you have and which you just repeat every day. So, my goal is to look at the data and try to find some patterns and, like, just see what I'm doing too much and too little, and try to tweak it a little bit and try to get into healthy habits, which I'm also going to track, so I can really improve my life and therefore my happiness and everything. Like, I think that's a great way to do that. So if you're only here for the graphs and the stats, I will put a link into the description where you see all the data I basically have. Beautiful in graphs and stuff. And if you want to get some explanation and some dates which affected my activities and what I've done, then you might consider watching this video. Let's go. So we are now in the file where I have all my data. And when I first began, I didn't have the data here yet. Like, I first tracked it in my Notes app on my phone, and it was a real pain in the because I made a note for every day. I then copied the template from the previous day and just changed the values. And only about at the end of the year, I switched to Google Excel sheets, and I therefore had to manually enter, like, import all the data from my notes. Like, it was awful. Anyway, here we have the raw data where I also noted down, for example, what I learned. Like, I had some singing lessons, and so on. Then here we have the cleaned data where it's just a yes or other value that's predefined. But yeah, let's get started with the first graph, which is my poop calendar. So I don't really know what to say about this because apparently I'm a quite consistent pooper, and the only outliner days were usually days where I was having some issues with my stomach. I think this is usually, yeah, also when I have a cold, I tend to poop more, but you can't clearly see that here. And I also didn't track when I was ill. So yeah, apparently my poopiest day is Thursday. And my longest poop streak is 52 days. I don't know if that's something to be proud of, but that's just a fact. And yeah, for me, one poop a day is fine. The next one is my wank calendar. Yay! So I think now it might be time to mention some events that happened last year. For example, in January, I was living and working in Italy, and I was physically working in an office. And here I was back home working from home from here on until I quit in May. So I think you can somewhat see that, like I was fapping a little bit more in when I was alone in Italy. Then I moved back home. I moved in with my brother and his wife. It got a little bit less. It was quite okay here. And in April, I remember that I actively tried to stop, basically, like not stop, but to make a 2-month break. That would have been my goal, but I realized that it's not going to happen. So, but I mean, you can see I tried. It's something. Then it got more, and yeah, it stayed quite consistent. On average, half a wank a day. Yeah, to be honest, before analyzing and like compiling the data, I was worried that this number would be way higher. Like I feared that this number was higher than the number of days the year had. But thank God that wasn't the case. And apparently I have no idea why, but I prefer Thursdays and Mondays. Like that's weird to me. And I can't really explain it. Also, there is no proper connection to other consumption. Like it's weird. Anyway, the next one, yeah, I mean it's more of a meme, but if anyone asks me how my love life is going, I can just show them these two graphs or calendars and they know what's up. Well, next one. Regarding the gaming, I tracked each day I was playing computer games. I didn't count when I was playing mobile games, but this was only a handful of days anyway. And you can see in January in Italy, during the week I was usually quite busy, playing more on weekends. In February I was still not playing that much, and I remember February, March was the time I started playing computer games with my brother. So it kind of escalated here. Got a little less. But usually more on the weekends. Probably also because, yeah, during the week you were usually working, like me and my brother. Yeah, in October it's kind of escalated. Like, I'm not really proud of that time here because it was also the time where I stopped tracking for some time. Like, I was feeling quite down and I was really unhappy, and I I was so close to quitting it completely, like tracking and everything. Like, I just wanted to throw it out of the window, and I'm really glad that I didn't. And I could have made up some data for these days, but I don't think that's something to be ashamed of. Like, everyone is down sometime, and the main thing is to just get up again and keep going. And yeah, this was nearly 2 weeks where I wasn't feeling so well. November, the lockdown happened for us, and it's on and off since then. So that didn't really help. And overall, I'm not really proud of it. Like, I played on 56% of all the recorded days. Like, that's a lot. Like, that's too much. And I don't have exact plans how I'm going to control it this year, but I'm already not playing that often, like maybe twice a week or so. So I don't have exact goals, but I already am limiting it. And the gaming per weekday makes complete sense because usually, yeah, during the week work, then towards Friday you have more time, and on the weekend there's usually the most time here. Yeah. For this one, I tracked when I drank alcohol or smoked some. As you can see, in January, when I was still in Italy, I had quite a fun time. And in February, yeah, I drank quite a bit with my brother. We had a phase. Then in March, I was quite well behaved regarding alcohol. It's funny, I always have some phases, basically. Like, that's interesting to see. And it would be interesting to track the days I meet my dealer. It would probably be like here, around here, around here, and here. But yeah, like, it's interesting to look at, but it's also kind of sad because there was a 50% chance that I was drinking alcohol on Fridays and about 30% chance of drinking alcohol on any day. Like, that's just too much. That's, yeah, that should be my life. And like 35% chance of any consumption every day. Like, that's too much. And yeah, the alcohol and weed per day makes sense. Usually on Friday, I had my Friday beers either in a company and even with the company over remote, and then with my brother, so that makes sense. And generally Saturday and Sunday more alcohol. Yeah. And with this, I really didn't expect it to be that much. Like, I had a feeling for it because I was kind of keeping track of all the days in November and December because I was curious, because I had the feeling that it's getting out of hand. But I didn't expect it to be that much. Like, if you would have asked me and I wouldn't have tracked it, I would have said, okay, yeah, maybe in December it was a bit much, but besides that, nothing unusual or so. So memory can be quite deceiving. The next graph, the next calendar, here I tracked every day I trained or did some kind of sport. Regarding the training, I set myself as a goal to train every single day, and if it's only 5 push-ups or so, because I just wanted to get into the routine of doing something every day, because I struggle with discipline. So I set this goal around March, and I don't have the exact date, but I think as soon as I told myself, okay, I'm going to train every single day, and if it's only for a minute. And since then, I have been quite consistent. And to be honest, I'm proud of it. Because even when I came home completely drunk, I was still getting on the ground and doing some push-ups. And usually, when you start, you just keep going. Like, you set yourself as a goal, okay, I'm so drunk, I just do 5 push-ups. But then you get the taste of it and you're like, okay, no, I'm not only doing 5, I'm doing 10, I'm doing 15, 20. And then you stop before you puke because you're so sick. But anyway, this is something I can say that I'm proud of for doing last year, for getting this consistency. And the days where I didn't train, I might have forgotten 1 or 2 days, but I usually made a conscious break. Like, I wanted to see how I perform if I take a day break. But my problem is I get out of habits and out of routines. I get out of them so easily that for me it's more important to just keep going. And the interesting thing is, even though I only trained probably less than a minute every day on average, I feel really good. And people really think that I'm putting effort into keeping my body healthy. Like, I was meeting an old friend and he was like, hey, how is it going? And what are you doing besides training? And I was baffled. Like, in my mind, it didn't feel like I'm training because I was just doing some push ups every day. But it really kept me fit, and yeah, I'm proud of it. And I'm going to talk about the results in a separate video and just show you my body, not to show off, but to show you that even with a little bit of training every day, you can stay quite healthy, like physically fit. So yeah, even with really low effort, and that's what I basically did, but I'm still proud of it. The sport days were days where I did any kind of sport, like drove 10-20 kilometers with my bicycle, or played volleyball, something like this. So here are the stats. The streak, their longest recorded streak was 96 days. In total, I was active on about 300 days, which, yeah, sorry for saying it over and over again, but I'm really proud of it. Even if it's not much, you should be proud of your accomplishments, even if they are small. I was overall active on 83% of all recorded days. And this was quite even, and I usually preferred doing sport on Sundays. The next one, going from really happy to really sad, because here I tracked whenever I sat down and read a book or had as a goal to learn something. Like, I'm learning every day by talking with people and watching YouTube videos and so on, but here I track the days where I consciously sat down and told myself I'm going to learn this, that, and whatever. For example, some Spanish, or in December I can remember I picked up playing keyboard. But overall, it's pathetic. It's pathetic and sad. Like, you just see where I currently have my priorities in life, which is definitely this and that. So my life is full of gaming and alcohol and consumption, but not with this. And I really want to read more and learn more, because I want to go places in life, and I'm far from where I'm at. And I don't get where I want to be with this kind of behavior. Let's call it that. It just makes me sad. Overall, I read on 11 days and learned something on 26, but I was gaming on 200 and drinking alcohol on 104. Like, come on. I'm just speechless. But this just shows how important tracking can be. Like, this really opened my eyes to put effort into reading more and learning more for the new year. Like, I don't know if I have exact goals right now, but I will define them once I have some tasks finished which occupy my mind right now. And like, let's see the good side of it. It can only get better from here on. Like, it can't really get worse. And regarding reading, I might set myself as a goal to read a book every month or two. Like, that's a start at something. And maybe I can set up a learning routine where I'm just every Saturday and Sunday or only one day in a week. Let's say only Saturday that I put some effort towards learning something. But this will change. Like, I can guarantee you it. This and that, this will all change. And one thing I wanted to mention regarding the training is that because I have this habit of training every day before I'm going to bed, I can now connect it with other things I want to do. For example, now, and it's like an easy connection, because I really want to get a six-pack. So now I'm going to do some stomach exercises every day. Like, I'm already in the habit of doing push-ups, and now I'm using this habit to get a six-pack, basically, or get a fitter stomach at least. Maybe not a six-pack yet. So the next one is this calendar, where I tracked when I showered. You can see here I was in the office, so I showered nearly every day. I still kind of had this habit here, but it got less. And yeah, since then it got a little bit lesser. Because here I was working from home, then the quarantine happened. You can see that it got even less. So yeah, I showered a total of 160 times last year. I apparently prefer Saturday, Thursday, and Tuesday. And I really hate showering on Sundays, apparently. This is just something what is fun to look at, but I'm not really going to change because I don't neglect my body, so yeah. That were my showers. The next one, here I tracked whenever I shaved my beard or I got it shaved, and when I went to the barber to get a haircut. I think this is not too interesting to talk about or look at it, but for me it was just interesting to get the average days. After how many days I, on average, shave my beard and go to the barber. Because I really dislike when my hair looks messy, like when I don't have a clean haircut on photos. So, and I mean, going to the barber about every 51 days it's quite a long time. So I might set up a monthly barber routine. Let's see. It's not going to happen now because of the lockdown, but maybe after this. Yeah. The next one, here I tracked whenever I cut my finger or toenails. And yeah, it got a little less, no, not really. Maybe a little less than January and February and March. But besides that, it was usually quite consistent. Yeah, lockdown. I think here is also the most interesting part, like the average days, and which are 6 days for my fingernails and 21 for my toenails. I think I'm usually most comfortable with 3 to 5 days of fingernails, like from the length. And on the 5th day, I usually get uncomfortable about the length and then cut them the next day. And my toenails, they don't really grow that fast, so, and I'm barely barefoot, so yeah, I think 21 days is okay. The weekdays, I apparently prefer Tuesdays. I think just the same with, yeah, shaving and going to the barber. Shower, no. But apparently Tuesdays is my hygiene day. Anyway, this was the last one. Now we only have the sleep time. I put the crafts in here. Don't ask me why, I like it messy. So these are the 2 crafts regarding the time I went to bed and the time I woke up. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you about this. Here, I remember this was the time I was in Hungary. I was 2 weeks there and I had a really fucked up sleeping pattern. Like I was staying up way too late. This is this spike. I can't really explain this one. This must have been around June or a bit before. But overall, it got a bit better. But it's not perfect yet. Here, the break-ins are when I went to bed really early. Maybe I had headache or I just smoked too much and fell asleep. Like, these are the in breaks here. The wake up time, yeah, this is the spike where I was in Hungary. This is the other spike I had. Yeah, so on average, I went to bed at 1:14 and I stood up at 9:27 and slept 8 hours 12 minutes on average, which I think, yeah, I already had that feeling. Like, I need about 8 to 9 hours of sleep, and apparently the number is more towards 8 hours, and I go to bed way too late on average. Like, I want to get a more normal pattern where I go to bed at, let's say, 10 p.m. or so. But there's still quite a way towards that. Yeah. Anyway, I really hope that you enjoyed these insights and you somewhat found them interesting. And maybe you even learned something for yourself, what you might want to do in the future. Maybe you want to track some data points in an area where you are currently not that happy, and just to see why you are not happy and if you could change it. Yeah, I really think that's the way to go. And I really have to say it's not that easy to be open about everything so much, like with strangers on the internet, basically. Like, I really try to be transparent and be open with everything, but this is like getting butt naked in front of strangers. Like, here you can really see that I'm at a point in my life where things need to change. Yeah. And if you're into these kind of self-improvements topics, feel free to subscribe, because that's the content I'm going to focus on in the future. And it would be really interesting to know if you have tracked some things, or if you might consider tracking something. Yeah, just let me know in the comments. And if you have struggled in like about how you could track something, like in an area where you might be unhappy right now, just let me know in the comments, and or shoot me a PM, and I'm happy to help. And yeah, that was my 2020. Definitely not my proudest year, definitely not my worst year, and 2021 will definitely get better. I can guarantee you that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and have a nice day. See you.